and welcome to the next installment of Monkey Mind podcast Chatter About the Chatter. I am your host, Cuddy Cudworth, the proud founder and owner of Monkey Mind Relaxation, which only started out as meditations, now a full coaching service for all the clients all around the world I get the chance to work with. But we wanted to create these podcasts so that we are talking about chatter about the chatter, not only those conversations that we have and we get lost in, which can be so self-debilitating for so many of the clients that I've been working with, but also about the antidepressants and how negative they can be. And we know that they become such a crutch for so many people. And I'm passionate about, giving people as much information as possible, not only to be able to give them the confidence to get off those antidepressants. I'm going to be talking to so many guests on these podcasts so that we can get you the information and we can talk about stories. And we've got a great guest today for you. We've had guests from all over the world. We've got more from all over the world. But today we are staying quite local to Cornwall. And our guest today is Jane Sandford from Jane Sandford Mindset Coaching. How are you, Jane?
I'm good, thank you, Cuddy. How are you?
I'm very well. I love your backdrop, Jane. I love your backdrop.
It's good,
Sometimes you forget you are awesome, so this is your reminder. Brilliant. I absolutely
love that was a lovely gift from my daughter yesterday.
Bless. Absolute bless. I love that. We need those reminders though, right?
We do, definitely.
And I know
I know I'm awesome. but yeah, you do sometimes forget. Yes.
Look, I want to say a massive thank you for coming on to Monkey Mind podcast, Chatter About the Chatter. And you've got a great story, Jane, a great story that you are more than welcome to share. And we're going to talk about your mindset coaching, but a porno, and tapping is our contact. Well, not just the conversation that we're going to be having, but we're going to be talking about these alternative therapies that can help people. They can help people with anxiety and depression and so much more. And you are a massive, massive advocate for EFT tapping. Now, a lot of people are not going to know about that. Yes, you are, Jane. And I know you are. You introduced me to Ho'oponopono, which is a very big word. Oh, I see. You're going to have to explain everything. But just give yourself, Jane, to all our lovely listeners and viewers of the channel, explain who you are. Tell us who you are, Jane.
I am Jane Sandford, as my husband likes to say, not Sandford. Yep, Ford as in car, not as in Elmer, as I like to say. Mindset coaching, yeah. Started my journey last year into the foray of mindset coaching. Did all the studying, as you know, with our lovely Graham.
Absolutely lovely.
And here I am. But last year, a friend of mine reached out, and she was doing the coaching. She said, come along, introduced me to this book, which absolutely, Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, absolutely changed my life. I went from having lies in, getting up 5 minutes before I was supposed to be in work, to getting up 3 hours before I was supposed to be in work, and getting loads done before anybody else in the household had got up. So that gave me loads of time to do studying and prepare a life plan.
I love that. And we're going to get the chance to talk about that. But there was a subject that's been popping up recently that even I've been noticing a little bit more. And we know full well whether it's the law of attraction or, but when you just hear one word and then you start focusing, you think, oh my, that's popped up again, is gaslighting. And I didn't even know what gaslighting was. And sometimes I think I'm getting dementia because I'm like, I'm sure someone's just done something. And then I'm like, no, they didn't. So I've kind of forgotten. And then as I've deep dived into that, that's gaslighting, I do believe. And you've had some experience with gaslighting, Jean, way back in the day. So
yes.
No, I know, and I know it's that uncomfortable subject, but once you share that story, I'm sure it's going to resonate with a lot of our followers and stuff like that. So just explain, because I think you maybe know more about gaslighting than I do. So please just give us a few examples if you don't mind.
Oh, it's a form of emotional abuse, often seen in abusive relationships. A lot of abusive relationships are not physical, they're emotional, and I think sometimes that can be a lot worse So it's manipulating people so
Right.
that they question their thoughts, their memories, things that happen around them. Yeah, you can be pushed so far that you question your own sanity, which is what I did. I totally questioned my own sanity. I thought I'd gone completely insane. And it wasn't until I removed myself from that situation that, you see it for what it is.
So what to really deep dive, because I still am not 100% sure. What is gaslighting then? What is it? What is somebody doing to you if they're gaslighting you?
It's manipulation.
And manipulation how?
They're lying to you, telling you this happened, that happened, and yet you were there, that didn't happen.
Right.
So, that's a lot of it is that. And like I say, you do question your own sanity. You see something and someone says that didn't happen. And you're thinking, did I see it? Didn't I see it?
Because the
And so,
brain
yeah.
is a fickle beast. It can be tricked.
Mm,
Our memories and memories are. I know there's a false identity that we can have with memories and belief that we create from way back in the past, and then we find out
yeah.
actually never happened. We fill in the blanks. That's what the brain does. It goes through that code system of, oh, that's not what happened. No, let me go to the last memory, and then it creates this new memory and these false memories that are not real, and
Yes.
that's a big part of gaslighting, then, isn't it?
Mm,
So you
very
start
much
to
so.
question yourself from previous relationships and things like that. And as I've been saying to a lot of our listeners and everything, we've been talking about, antidepressants and people using antidepressants. And we know that there's a big cause and need for them at this moment in time. But there is a way off antidepressants to give people that possibility and that hope of thinking, actually, I don't need to create this crutch. And I know, Jane, that is something that you've had experience. And I think your mum, I think when we were talking earlier, your mum was a big help and inspiration. So Jane, just share that with us a little bit.
Yeah, when I was on antidepressants for sort of the last couple of years of my marriage, and when I left that relationship, my mum said to me, right, you don't need these antidepressants anymore. I made sure I didn't just come straight off them, and I gradually weaned myself off them. And it wasn't that I was depressed. So I was on antidepressants, but it wasn't because I was depressed. It was because I was in a situation that I didn't know how to get out of. And the antidepressants, they numb you. So you're not feeling that. And they numb you emotionally, they numb you physically. Yeah,
Why are
you're
you
laughing
laughing when
there
you say
because
physically?
we discussed this
Why are you
previously, and you
laughing,
know
Jane? Why are you laughing?
they when
What
I
do you
was
mean
on
by physically, Jane? What do you mean by physically?
when I was on antidepressants, I couldn't have an orgasm.
Jane, whoa! Jane, throwing it down.
Boom.
Sure.
I am sure there are other people out there who, have got the same
Yes.
as well. I didn't realize it was because of the antidepressants until I came off them.
Yeah. I'll be. Look at you blushing. Fair play. No, you can't be honest about these.
Oh no, I've been out in the sun today.
Oh, well, we are having lovely weather at this moment in time. Look, honestly, thank you so much for your honesty, though, because a lot of people don't realize that, and that's what we create in our, I think I've mentioned it on a previous podcast, is it's like the triple A's that we kind of do. It's avoidance, acceptance, and then there's an allowance of what's happening to us. And avoidance is one of the biggest things that we do because we're avoiding pain, because no one likes pain, whether it's emotional pain, mental pain, physical pain. It's one of those things your brain's constantly trying to keep you away from, and thrown in with your subconscious as well. When those fears pop up, that's really what it's like for a lot of people. So no, Jane, honestly, thank you so much for your honesty there. That's a little bit more information than I expected, but thank you very much. No, you're throwing it down. That's what you're supposed to do.
No
Good on
worries.
You.
If
So,
I can help somebody else, then it's worth just getting it out there.
That's what it's all about. The chatter about the chatter. So when we're talking about the chatter, how was those conversations that we have going on in the inside? And I'm always very honest about how mine were many years ago. And meditation saved my life, and snap bands and meditation saved my life. But How was that chatter, that monkey mind for you way back in the day, Jane? How was it?
Oh, how was it? It
Uh,
was it was there. That was all there was just the chatter back in the day. Um, until you remove yourself, like I said, until you remove yourself from the situation and you think, you start thinking properly.
yeah,
You've got the time. If you're not constantly, like say, being gaslighted,
yeah,
you've got the time then to sit back and see things for what they are.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
it takes time. It takes time.
Yeah,
But it was constant chatter.
yeah. It's exhausting. I remember
Mm.
at my darkest times. I used to go out for dinner with my wife, and we used to sit across from each other, and she would just be talking, and I would just be looking at her. And after about 45 minutes, my wife would say, "You've just completely blanked me for 45." I'm like, "What?" No, 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 we're eating this meal. She went, "No, I've just talked to you for 45 minutes." And we get locked up here, and we just get
Yeah.
so lost with this conversation that just does not go away. And it's those thoughts that are not real. It's fake news. It's just absolutely exhausting. It stops you sleeping and things like that. So no, brilliant. Honestly, Jane,
And it's reliving the past as well, isn't it?
it's a
It's
real.
looking in the rear view mirror. I've had an experience of it today actually, walking around the lake, and hubby had asked me something, and I'd gone back a couple of years, and he always used to send me photographs. I used to have a horrible commute every day, about 2 hour commute there, 2 hour commute back because of the traffic, and Cornwall roads are not the best.
Cornwall.
Uh, Cornwall roads are not the best. And I worked in Plymouth, so I was backwards and forwards. And he used to send me photographs. He's retired, so he used to send me photos every day, thinking he was cheering me up. Meanwhile, I'm in an office on my own. He's sending me beautiful photos of countryside and going out for walks and everything like this. And it used to wind me up. I was jealous. I was so jealous of him. And obviously, and it made me angry with him.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't want to see your beautiful photos. I don't want to know you're doing that. And I'm stuck in an office doing this. That was it. He was talking about frogs jumping across the path. He said, this part here where we are, one day, there were loads and loads of frogs. And I said, oh, you didn't tell me that before. He said, yeah, I told you about it. Anyway, so I started going on about, yeah, but I didn't like it back then and blah, 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 blah. And then he got down on his knees, this is today, and he's scurrying in the side of the path. And there was this tiny little frog. And this frog must have known we were talking about. I reckon we manifested this tiny little frog. It was only about the size of a thumbnail.
There's a lot
I
of
will show
frogs.
you.
Yeah, it is the time. It is the time. Yes.
And it just hopped onto the back of his hand. But it just brought you back into the now. The chatter stopped. This little frog just made the chatter stop. And we just talked about the little frog. So yes, chatter about the chatter.
Chatter
When,
about the chatter. It's a
you just
thing.
need to bring it. You've got to bring yourself back into the now.
It is. It's such a huge thing. And there's so many things that work for that. Now you are absolutely.
Ho'oponopono.
Do you know what?
Let's go on to that.
If we need to talk about Ho'oponopono. I might not be saying it right.
Ho'oponopono.
Right. Perfect. Which is a Joe Vitale thing. I think is the head guru, if you would like to say that, is the head spokesperson for Ho'oponopono.
He is, yeah. I've done a few courses with Joe Vitale, and he got it from Dr. Hugh Len. I'm not going to give you his whole name because I can't pronounce it, but it's Hawaiian. It's a Hawaiian form of prayer. But I'd rather just tell you what it is. It's like four very, very simple phrases. Rather than go deep into it, there's four very, very simple phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And you say that to yourself. You don't say it to anybody else. I wouldn't say it to you.
Thank you.
Because you're forgiving yourself.
Your face told me a whole picture. I wouldn't say to you. I know you wouldn't, Jane. Thank you very much.
If you were annoying me, I would say it to myself. If I felt that I was getting annoyed, I would say it to myself. I would, say, I'm sorry to the divine in me, or to my heart center,
Right, Sanskrit.
because I do not want to be feeling annoyed with myself. Say it to your inner child, whatever you call it, you just do the Ho'oponopono to your inner child and apologize to yourself for making yourself feel that way,
Ooh.
annoyed.
Good stuff.
And it brings you back into the now. And it brings you back to your heart center. It is so powerful. And the annoyance, I mean, for me, it just seems to stop. It's like, I don't want to be annoyed. I'm really, I'm sorry I was annoyed. Please forgive me for being annoyed. And I love you. Thank you. It's so simple and yet so, so powerful.
I've been using it recently. I've been using it as an extra technique. I mean, I love my meditation and things like that, but no, I have been using those 4 sentences recently for a lot, and it's such a simple and clever clearing technique. And we are talking about alternative therapies. So, what did you first get when you was coming off the antidepressants? What did you first get yourself into and find yourself as an alternative therapy? What was your first goal to? Because we're going to talk a little bit about EFT and tapping, which I think has been brought to the mainstream quite a lot with Prince Harry, because he was seen on TV tapping, yes. I do believe. So,
I missed that.
Did you not see? Oh, it was on all the newspapers when he was tapping. One part of his therapies was tapping and stuff like that.
Oh, I must have missed that.
Yes. So, and I know we did.
I've not been keeping up with the gossip. Sorry, with the royal gossip.
Look. I think we're all very knowledgeable. Not staying away from the news. It's the best thing you can do. Stay away from the news. We don't need it. It's yeah, absolutely. So, talk to me about what did get you like off the antidepressants. I know your mum was there to help you and stuff like that, but what kind of therapies did you go into first?
I weaned myself off them. Therapies. I think I was just trying to, when I left that relationship, I was a complete shell of myself. Mm-hmm. I've actually twisted that round now. I twisted it round the other week and said I wasn't a shell, I was a blank canvas. Which I think
nice.
Is really, yeah.
Blank canvas, that's very good. A brilliant reframing there. Well done.
Yeah, and it was tough love, actually. The first therapy was tough love.
Tough love. There it is.
Definitely.
Tough love.
Yeah. And that got me out of it. And that started me thinking logically. And I became very, very logical at that time. And I hadn't built the fluff back up. That makes sense.
I know we're going to get into the fluff, but I really want to comment, because when I'm working, somebody asked me the other day, says, well, Cuddy, what are you doing when you're working with clients? And I said, basically, when I'm working with clients, because we create these stories, that everyone creates these stories, we create meanings, not always true. And I said, we use logic. That's generally what I do when I'm working with clients, is we use logic to get the other person to think more logical instead of emotional. And it's that logic that comes in, is like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. So logic is such a great thing to do, and to use on yourself is brilliant. But honestly, great stuff. Brilliant.
Yeah. And then it must have been about 10 years later, I thought, actually, I'm ready now. When you've been at that level, it does take a while to build yourself back up.
Yep.
So, I spent 10 years building myself back up, building my strength back up. I didn't think I'd ever work again at the end of that relationship. I thought my life was over. I thought I'd ruined my life completely, but, started working again. Ended up getting quite a good career. But I've always been drawn towards the helping practitioner, being a helping practitioner, helping practices. And because of that experience, I know that I can help others.
Absolutely.
Because I've been through it. I've come out the other end. I'm a much stronger person for it. And I've painted my own canvas. So the first thing I did was stress management course.
Yeah.
I wanted to teach people not to be stressed.
Yeah.
And this was back in 2011. And then I did aromatherapy. So I'm a qualified aromatherapist. And then I did crystal healing as well.
Nice.
So those were the 3 that I did back in 2011. I do
So,
like my crystals.
is this what you would
So
consider fluff?
the crystal healing,
Yes.
would I consider that? Is
You
what you're
said, oh, we can talk about the fluff, because I think one of my previous guests was saying, oh, this is the woo-woo. And I know I've got another guest coming up from Australia says, well, I want to talk about woo-woo. And I'm like, what's the word woo-woo? What does woo-woo? Alternative is a great way.
It is.
So,
But some people don't believe in the power of crystals. And to be honest with you, I see crystals as a tool.
mm-hmm.
I don't see them as having magical powers.
Right.
Which is where the woo-woo comes into. I see them as tools, and each crystal, it's got, I was going to say power then. It's got, you focus with it.
Yes.
So, rose quartz, for instance, it's a stone of love. People associate it with love. It doesn't, I wouldn't say it brings you love, but it helps you to focus on love with it. So, you've got your rose quartz in your hand. You start focusing on love, and of course what you focus on you manifest into your life. So that in that way it could seem like magic, the magic crystals, but I think as you focus it gets you visualizing.
Focus,
as we know, that's
is
a
a
very,
huge
very powerful thing.
Whether you want to put focus under manifesting or under law of attraction, still the one thing we control is what our perspective. It's perspective. Focus, perspective, 100%. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So let's go to EFT tapping, because I still am not 100% sure if I know what this is. So what is the EFT? No, look, I'm honest. I don't know absolutely everything. And if I'm honest for all my listeners and stuff like that, I think I started doing the Monkey Mind podcast so I can learn even more, because the older I get, the more I realize I don't know about stuff. And to expand your mind.
None of us know anything. We don't know anything.
Brilliant. Love it.
We're always learning. EFT, it was actually introduced to me back in 2000, going back to about 2011 again. One of my colleagues asked me if I'd heard of it, and it was around about the time that I was doing the crystal healing, and she was trying to explain it to me, and I thought tapping, she was tapping away, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? And I wasn't ready for it. I know. I thought, how on earth can that happen? Yeah, you've got it. You've been practicing.
I've done it. I know it's that. Stressed. I'm stressed.
And I wasn't ready for it. It's called emotional freedom technique. And then it came up again last year, and again I thought, I've heard of that. Do I want to do that? And then of course I tried it. I downloaded the tapping solution app, and I gave it a go. And it works.
And look, there's going to be a lot of people that are going, what the hell is EFT? So it's tapping on the meridians of the
acupressure, but yes. it's acupuncture without the needles. Basically, it's tapping on your acupressure points.
Yeah.
To clear the meridians. But I also think this is going to be controversial now.
Bring on the controversial. Episode 4. And here's a controversy.
I also think it's another way of bringing you back to the now and taking your focus away from your monkey mind.
Yeah.
Because you're concentrating on where you're tapping.
Yeah.
And also you've got your negative phrasing, your negative phrasings, your positive phrasings to focus on as well.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're back in your now, it's a meditative thing as well. When you're back in your now, you're not thinking about the monkey mind, the chatter.
Yeah. I genuinely think anything that brings your focus. I always say you can focus on your breath. Just focus on your breath in and out, and you are making yourself present, taking yourself. Because I'm very much a believer in depression comes from something that's happened in the past. Anxiety comes from a worry and our imagination of the future, which I believe I got from Eckhart Tolle. I'm a big fan of Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
I do remember listening to his audiobook, and if Eckhart Tolle ever reads this or listens to this, I apologize. Your voice is really, 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 really long and slow, but the message and his books are phenomenal. So I would read the book in future, not listen to his audio books, to be honest with you.
But he does bring you into the now because you're
He does.
focusing. You're focusing. You have to
Oh,
slow down your mind to listen to him.
I
But that
can't.
was, yeah, The Power of Now and Conversations with God, Neil Donald Walsh, were two of the books that really made me sit up and go, whoa. And Byron Katie as well, with
Oh,
the works. And you
rings a
can get,
bell.
yeah, you can get lots and lots of free stuff from her website. That
Brilliant.
yeah, some tools from her website that again she brings you back to the now, but she also makes you ask, is that true?
I honestly
Logic.
the amount of times I
Logic.
annoy people when they've told me a story, I'm like, but is any of that true? What do you mean? Of course it's true. No, I'm asking, is anything you've just said true? Because we create these stories that are not real. Our imaginations and our
We do.
monkey mind is more creative than Roald Dahl sometimes, to be honest with you. I've heard some of the stories I've created in the past, and then my wife will be like, that didn't happen. I'm like, what? Yep, none of that happened because we create it. I know this probably goes back to gaslighting a little bit in a different kind of way, but we can kind of gaslight ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I know you mentioned earlier, or I know some of our listeners will probably think, oh, well, I'm silly to believe in crystals. But is it
Well, this is me cutting through the woo-woo, isn't it? With
but,
the EFT, just saying it's a focus. A lot of people don't believe in meridians.
But
Yes.
is it any more stranger believing in a crystal, the power of a crystal, to believing something happened to you once when you were 6, so you now think it's going to happen to you every week and you just keep looking for something going wrong? Because that's one of those thinking styles. We know this from cognitive behavioral therapy, that one of those thinking styles is an overgeneralization. Well, this happened once, it has to happen again.
Yeah.
That's where the logic part comes in. And do you know what? I remember working with one of my clients and they'd said, well, this happened once 4 years ago, so now I can't answer the phone because I think that's what the brain does. Well, you've made a connection. If I answered the phone, you got bad news. Now I've got anxiety every time the phone rings because I think I'm going to get bad news. And the logic I used with that client was, do you play the lottery? No, because I'm not going to win. Okay, why are you not going to win? But just the possibilities are just too random. I said, you've got more possibility of winning the lottery than you have of getting bad news every time you answer the phone. So what I honestly, it was one of the best things because I said, every time you don't want to answer the phone, you have to buy a lottery ticket. She went, I'll be skinned by the end of the week. And it got her past this. She had this social anxiety, a lovely lady. And she says, oh, I never bought a lottery ticket once. And I answer the phone all the time now. She goes, it was just, I knew that I wasn't going to win a lottery. So I didn't buy a ticket. I just answered the phone. She goes, it was one of the strangest things of these logics that you've used.
Mm.
And she was like, oh, I never bought a lottery ticket. And I answer the phone all the time and I don't have social anxiety anymore. And that's the belief. So that's what I'm saying. That to come back to your question, is it any stranger believing in a crystal, the power of a crystal, than thinking, oh, if I answer the phone, I'm going to get bad news? What's the difference?
No, it's all woo-woo.
No, it's all woo-woo. I love it.
It's not. It's all the chatter, isn't it? Maybe we can just call the chatter the woo-woo. Woo-woo about the woo-woo.
There's too much woo-woo talk. Let me tell you, far too much woo-woo talk. So talk to me about mindset coaching. I'm a big believer in mindset coaching. I do it myself 100%. From Jane's point of view, because we have a little bit of a different perspective on positivity. Because I always say a positive mindset is the knowledge that even if tomorrow's a bad day or something goes wrong, I have the tools to get through it. And when we had this conversation, Jane, you jumped right on it and said, no, that's not a positive mindset. So what's your version of a positive mindset?
I don't know what you're talking about. Seriously, I don't know what you're talking about.
Really? You don't remember what I said
Really?
yesterday? I was going through the positive mindset course and I said, you know, that.
You sure you're not gaslighting me?
Oh, Jane. Oh.
I'm lost, seriously. I am so lost.
Do you not remember that conversation? Oh, I'm blushing because I'm
What
like.
did I say? What did I say? What did I say?
What did you call yourself? Pollyanna?
Oh, Pollyanna, yes.
Do you remember the Pollyanna morning?
I remember the Pollyanna morning.
Because I said a positive mindset is knowing that tomorrow could be a bad day, but you've got the tools to deal with it. That's a positive mindset, because you can't walk around thinking everything's unicorn farts and roses and things like that. That's not a positive mindset.
And I said, yes, you can go around thinking everything's unicorn farts and roses. Yes, you can. You wake up every morning and you can choose to be positive. You can choose to be happy. And even if something goes wrong, this is it. You said, when things go wrong, and they always will. And I said, no, they won't always. That is such a negative statement. They will not always go wrong.
I think you're gaslighting, because I would never say things. Oh, I said, and things will go wrong, or things can go wrong.
No, you said they will go wrong.
Right.
And I said they might not go wrong.
Okay, fair enough.
That's projecting.
Pollyanna.
Pollyanna, they might not go wrong. You have to look at it as nothing's going to go wrong.
Because you've got.
But then if
to get through it.
Because and if something does go wrong, that's all a matter of perspective as well. Because you can look at it as, oh no, it's gone wrong, or you can look at it as, oh, I wasn't expecting that. What can I learn from this? What can I take forward? Or you can just do Ho'oponopono. And not let. Yeah.
You know, I was using that on the
tap
of when
tap
I was
your way out
in a certain place. That was the only thing going through mine. And I'm a big believer in right time, right place, Jane. And when you told me about that, I was like, oh, I need to look into that. And I watched the videos and stuff, and I used that for 3 days when I was down in Blackpool. When I went down to Blackpool and Sheffield, I used it for 3 days. I was clearing myself constantly on that.
Clean.
Yeah, no, it got me through it though. Absolutely got me through it. I'll give you that one, 100%. So brilliant. So talk to me about the mindset coaching, because you've got a Facebook group, and it's a passion of yours to be coaching people on mindset. I have to say, I'm a big fan of your Facebook group.
Oh, thank you.
Your pictures are great. You're a much better speller and typer than I am.
Typist, better at grammar too. Typist.
Oh, thanks for correcting my wife. My wife has to auto-correct a lot of my posts in the Facebook group. I'll be honest. It's true. She's like, oh God, you can't punctuate anything. I'm like, I'm not perfect. I get it. It's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, I've had that as my career, proofreading and editing, and also graphic design. You know, I do a day job as well, and I do graphic design, websites, and this, that, and the other. But we don't want to talk about that, because mindset coaching is one of my passions.
Yes.
It's one of my passions. So yeah.
Top tip for a mindset. Top tip for a positive mindset, Jane. What we got?
Wake up every morning and just know that you can choose to be happy. That is my top tip.
And when
it's a
someone
choice.
says, no, Jane, you're wrong, how do you respond to that? It's not possible to wake up every morning and say, no, today I choose to be happy.
Why not? Why don't you believe it's not your choice? Whose choice is it?
Accountability. Yeah. Brilliant. I absolutely love that. That's fantastic. Good stuff. Jane, is there anything else you want to say to our lovely listeners of my Monkey Mind podcast, Chatter About the Chatter? How can we find you, Jane?
You can find me at janesandford.com, or you can find me on Facebook. I am Jane Sandford Coaching, and also the Facebook group, which is called Positive Mindset Group. The name of that may change because it just seems a bit nondescript.
Right.
So if you can think of anything, another name for my group, do let me know.
Ooh, now there's a challenge.
There is a challenge.
Ooh.
Find the group, pop into the group, let me know what you'd like the group to be called.
Ain't no positive mindset like a Jane Sandford positive mindset group.
Yeah,
Too
you
much.
definitely find that one, wouldn't you?
It's too much. I get it. It's too much. Sanford
And
mindset.
Ford.
Sanford. Sanford.
Sand as in beach, Ford as in car.
Right. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
Mhm.
Thank you very much for joining us on today's podcast, Jane. Honestly, thank you very much for being one of our guest speakers on it. I mean that sincerely, Jane. You shared, and there's going to be people listening, and it's going to resonate, my love. It's going to absolutely resonate, and I mean that sincerely. So thank
Yes.
you very much to Jane Sandford. Much appreciated. I hope you've enjoyed
Thank
another
you,
one about.
Cuddy.
Yes, Jane, go on.
I say thank you very much, Cuddy.
Much appreciated. I love that. So this
You
was
are
another
appreciated.
episode. What's that, Jane?
You are appreciated.
Oh, thank you.
You are. You brighten up our days. Have you got look at you, orange,
Neon. I do like my neons.
neon, spiky head.
The quiff. Hashtag all about the quiff. I used to do my hashtags for all about the quiff because it was a little bit more quiffy. Right, so honestly, Jane, thank you so much. Much appreciated. This is another one of our episodes of Monkey Mind Podcast, Chatter About the Chatter, and talking about all those alternative therapies, all those different perspectives, how you can change your mindset to be happier, create that happiness, create that dopamine, however you need to create that dopamine. One of the best ways to do that is by smiling and laughing. So that's what it's all about. Jane, thank you so much. Big love from Cuddy, as always. And thanks for tuning
Thank
in
you.
for another one. Jane, I can't wait to see you again. I'm sure you'll be back on the podcasts. And a lot of our followers will be saying, we need Jane back on. We need back on.
There's
Absolutely.
much more. There's much more. Stay positive.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Jane. Always a pleasure. And to all the listeners, Monkey Mind Podcast, tune in for the next one. Chatter about the chatter. Big love from Cuddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.